who's a case that we've been looking at. And this is a case of this beautiful girl, Hannah Maguire, from Ballarat in Australia. So this case, remember, with Samantha Murphy, which has all gone quiet, hasn't it? The Samantha Murphy case again. They expect it'll liven up when the court case comes up, but it's not till next year. But, you know, no sign of finding a body yet. But around that time, in those first 3 months of the year at Ballarat, 3 women were killed, one of which was Samantha Murphy. Another one was Hannah Maguire, who was killed by her boyfriend. And let's have a look at him. I suppose, you know, talk about, you know, I just don't know what she saw. To me, with Hannah, I think Hannah met him when she was young and she got involved with him. And then she outgrew him. And then he wasn't taking that line down, was he? Like, you don't leave me. You know, even though you can just tell by looking at him. I'm sorry, but you can. You can tell by looking at him he's a twonk. You know, and she didn't want to be with him anymore. She outgrew him. She decided she probably found it attractive. He was a bit of a bad boy when she was 18, 19, like girls do. And then when she got into her 20s and her life started to take off. She started studying. You know, she had a bright future. He had no future because he was still the same waster that he was maybe when he was 16, 17, 18. He never grew up. Hannah grew up and she didn't want to be with him anymore. But he wasn't having that. No, he wasn't having that. So I'm just going to leave you briefly with this beautiful picture of Hannah. I'm just going to get a drink and have a quick bathroom break. Usual 9 seconds. I'll be back in a sec. Actually, no, I'm going to leave you with her picture, not the be right back. I've got smaller ones. There you go. Oh, no, I can't put them both on at the same time. Don't quite work that out. So this is Hannah. And very sadly, Hannah's been taken again from this world, from her family. The world needs people like Hannah, not like that idiot. Poor Hannah. Anyway, originally, as I say, he said he admitted he'd killed her, but he said it was an accident. But then after that accident, of course, he took her body out in the car, set fire to the car with the body, and then also texted her mum and tried to make it look like she'd taken her own life. So you can imagine, I don't expect that went down very well with the jury, you know, when he was saying, oh, yeah, it was an accident. Anyway, apparently he caused a big stir in court, because court case is going on at the moment, and he's changed his plea dramatically. And well, do you know what? If there's one good, I mean, he won't have done it, as I said, I doubt very much he'll have done it for her or her family. He'll have done it for him. Perhaps because he's realised he's not getting away, nobody's believing him anyway. Maybe he's hoping he'll get lesser sentence because he's changed his plea, and possibly he will. But let's have a look at, I've just put some windows down and we'll have a look. So yeah, it was really quite dramatic, this. Apparently in the courtroom people started clapping. And you know, it will be a relief for the families, because you know, to have to go through, you know, they'd have to look at photos, you know, it'd just be awful what the family would have to go through, and for him to plead guilty is a good thing. Let me just change this picture up here as well. Actually, it is a good thing. I mean, it would have been a better thing if he would never have killed her, of course, in the first place, wouldn't it? Sorry, I'm trying to change the little picture up at the top. There she is. Yeah, would have been better if he just would never have killed her in the first place. But, of course, you know, we can't turn back time, unfortunately. But at least he's admitting to it, and that will make a big difference. Let's have a look. So we're going to have a look at a couple of videos about it.
Good afternoon. First at 4, Hannah Maguire's killer has confessed to her murder in a shock court admission in Ballarat. Applause rang out in the courtroom as Lachlan Young finally pleaded guilty to her murder. Bethan Yeoman has this report.
There were very emotional scenes at the Ballarat Supreme Court this morning as Lachlan Young pleaded guilty to the murder of Hannah Maguire from Kieran Clunes 8 days into his criminal trial. The hearing was all over in 6 minutes, the courtroom erupting in applause as Hannah's parents, Debbie and Glenn, embraced, earlier wiping away tears as the 23-year-old changed his plea. Their 23-year-old daughter's badly burnt body was found in a torch car in bushland outside of Ballarat just hours after she was murdered on April 5 last year. Young previously admitting to staging her death to make it look like a suicide, but only pleading guilty to manslaughter, claiming it was not planned.
When you get powerful, damning and harsh facts, then certainly the defence strategy has to be changed, and that's exactly what happened in this case.
Over the past 8 days, multiple serious allegations were aired in court, including that Young used Hannah's phone to text her mother after he killed her. The court also heard Young had told a colleague he planned to drug his former girlfriend and crash a car with her unconscious behind the wheel.
Oh, look at him laughing. Oh, yeah, ha, ha, ha. It's hilarious. So this is his mate. We're going to have a look at something about him in a moment. He seems to be loving it. So he knew what this twonk was going to do to Hannah. He told him he was going to drug her and, you know, do something to her. And he did not go to the police. And look at him. He thinks it's funny. He's laughing, hiding his face. Is it funny then? God, it just makes me so angry. These twonks, these absolute pieces of shit. You know, no wonder she wanted to leave him. The thing is, they've not grown up, have they? They're still acting like 16-year-olds. You know, in fact, most 16-year-olds wouldn't think about drugging their girlfriend, etc. But anyway, you know, they're just jocks, aren't they? They're like just, I don't know what they are. They're honest to God, they're not fit to. I wouldn't spit on them if they were on fire. They just make me so angry. It's like Hannah's life didn't mean anything, and to him either. He should get a prison sentence for being told that someone was in danger and not going to the police about it. Hannah could still be alive. God.
Just days before her murder, Hannah's parents today relieved, telling 7 News no other result would have been fitting. Young will now await sentencing. The case will return to court next Friday.
Gosh. So let's have a look at, I've got a little, so this is a friend, he's a friend of the killer. I'm not even going to mention his name. He says he had no idea. Let's see. No idea she was in. Oh, so he then helped him with the car, but he says he didn't know that Hannah was inside it. Arse.
Of the man on trial for the murder of Ballarat woman Hannah Maguire has revealed he was paid $45 to help her killer dump her ute. But the key with
$45 he was paid. And he says he didn't know she was in it. That he just thought, you know, that dickhead friend of his had just said to him, oh, will you help me dump this car? Well, why? What was he doing dumping a car that was hers anyway? You know, whether he knew she was in it or not, it wasn't the dickhead's car. It was her car, and he knew it was her car. So he should be facing charges, in my opinion. Anyway, he'll get his karma.
Witness claims he had no idea Miss Maguire's body was inside the burning vehicle.
Benjamin O'Keefe drove in convoy behind Lachlan Young before watching his mate set his ex-partner's car on fire in bushland. But he insists he didn't know Hannah Maguire was dead or that her body was inside the burning vehicle.
Doesn't matter whether whether he knew she was in there or not. It was her car. So, just imagine your friend coming to you and saying, oh, will you help me? Because that dickhead, he couldn't be bothered walking back from where he was going to dump the car. So he wanted him to follow in the car so he could have a lift back because he's a lazy shit and he wouldn't walk back from it, would he? But he knew it was Hannah's car. Whether he knew Hannah was in it or not, he probably did. Don't forget, this guy had said to him he was going to drug Hannah and do something to her. So he probably did know that Hannah was in the car. But whether he knew Hannah was in the car or not, it wasn't the dickhead's car. It was Hannah's car. So if my friend turns up at my door and says, oh, I'm just going to go and set fire to my husband's car, whether I know the husband's in there or not, I'm just going to set fire to my husband's car. Will you come and drive behind me and bring me home after? And I'm going to go, oh, yeah, of course you were. Of course I am. I mean, they weren't even husband and wives. They had, independent cars. I mean, it's just so ludicrous. I can't even believe that I'm having to discuss it. This guy, he's just as bad as dickhead. He's just as bad. Hope he's facing some charges. And I hope he faces some karma. And I think if I was Hannah's parents, if I was Hannah's mum, I tell you, you'd have to watch out for me. You'd have to be looking behind him. That's for sure. Because I would be fuming at him. And I wouldn't let him get away with it. I would face him and have my say.
Today, Mr O'Keefe was questioned as a key witness in his...
Hello, he's laughing. Doesn't, oh my God, I hope somebody sorts him out. Honestly, I do. I'm not recommending violence, but I hope one way or another he gets made to see what he's dickhead too, isn't he? We've got number one dickhead, his mate, and now he's number two dickhead.
Friend's murder trial about the day he learned the young teacher was dead. Upon hearing about the death of Hannah Maguire, what did you do? I called Lockie. I was worried that I was implicated in her murder. Mr O'Keefe gave evidence he confronted.
So, first thing he does, he calls his friend, doesn't call the police. Doesn't call the police. No, I call Lockie. Idiot. Honest to God, he's a thicko. No wonder she left that other guy, that dickhead number one. She'd outgrown him so much. And unfortunately, he just wasn't going to let her go. And this guy, he supported it.
Mr Young in person, saying Hannah better not have been in that car. Then telling the court he said she was already deceased. She was suffocated. Mr Young, Ms Maguire's former partner, is accused of murdering her but has pleaded not guilty, arguing that while he killed the 23-year-old, he did not do so with murderous intent.
What?
The jury also heard Mr Young previously told his mate he wanted to drug his ex-partner before putting her body in a car and rolling it down a hill. Mr O'Keefe was then quizzed about why he still didn't suspect Ms Maguire may be...
Oh, when someone says that to you, don't you go straight to the police? You think of somebody you knew who said to you, not only, look, people talk about their ex-partners and they say, oh, I hate them or this, that or the other. When someone actually says to you they're going to drug them, put them in their car and roll them down a hill, you go straight to the police, don't you? That's what you should be doing. Gosh, I think he might find that somebody's waiting for him one night in a dark alley.
In the car that he saw being set alight. So even though 2 days before there's this conversation about scaring Ms Maguire, it didn't even enter your mind that she might be in that vehicle? Yes. Estelle Greepink, 7 News.
Date of it. gosh, just makes me so mad. You know, that didn't even think of that girl or her parents, you know. Awful. Anyway, it is good news that Dickhead has changed his plea. He's pled guilty. It's just a question now. I'll be interested to see what the sentencing is. Very interested. Same as with Erin Patterson, another Patterson. You know, because I don't know much about Australian sentencing. Oh, I'm just going to play this, actually. I forgot I had this. This is an audio one that I wanted to play.
A Victorian courtroom has erupted after a man accused of killing Hannah Maguire changed his plea to guilty midway through the trial. Lachlan Young had initially pleaded not guilty to murdering his ex-partner, whose body was found dumped in a burnt-out car in bushland. The packed courtroom cheered after the 23-year-old was taken from the courtroom following his guilty plea. Reporter Julia Bergen was in the Ballarat courtroom for that moment, and a warning: this report contains details some might find distressing. Julia, just take us through the details of this case.
So until today, Lachlan Young had admitted to killing Miss Maguire in April last year and dumping her body in bushland, but he denied that he did so with murderous intent. So he'd offered to plead guilty to a manslaughter, but this was rejected by the prosecution on day one of the trial. And obviously everything has changed today. So it's day 8 and we head in this morning, and Lachlan Young was rearraigned and has actually pled guilty to the murder of his ex-partner, Hannah Maguire. So in front of a jury, it was a packed courtroom, and in front of a jury, he was asked whether he did indeed murder Miss Maguire and was asked how he pled, and he said guilty. So if we look back over the past 8 days of what we've heard in this case, the evidence has been incredibly damning. From the get-go, there was no dispute over the facts that Young caused Miss Maguire's death, that Miss Maguire was killed at the home that her and Young shared, that Young then placed her dead body in the footwell of a car, drove her out to State Forest, and throughout the case, Young has been arguing that he was present while the car was ignited and Miss Maguire was incinerated. The prosecution has argued that it was him who indeed torched that car, and now that he's pled guilty, that is in fact what's happened. So the defence's case was hinging entirely on murderous intent, and they tried to offer a different version of events, which we heard yesterday in court, and they were basically trying to pin it on the man, Benjamin O'Keefe, who unwittingly helped Miss Young dispose of the car. O'Keefe said he had no idea that Miss Maguire's body was in the car at the time. So the defence basically said that Miss Maguire died when she hit her head against a bathroom sink during an argument with Mr Young. They then...
Yeah, that's what you originally said. She hit her head on the bathroom sink. God.
Alleged that Mr O'Keefe saw Miss Maguire's body inside the house and discussed with him how to dispose of the body, came up with a plan and suggested that Mr Young burn the car and torched it himself. And all of this was rejected by O'Keefe, and as I said today, that has now been confirmed because Young has pled guilty.
What was that moment like in the courtroom when he entered a guilty plea?
Yeah, it was, I mean, the court was incredibly still and incredibly packed. It hasn't been like that all week. There's been quite a lot of people coming in and out of court, but today there was people standing right up to the edges. But when that jury was brought in today and Mr Young was asked how he wanted to plead and he said guilty, the court breathed a sigh of relief. He was then taken out and it erupted into cheers. So there was a lot of tears, a lot of hugs, and coming out of the courtroom, everyone was clearly relieved.
Reporter Julia Bergen in Ballarat. And if you're in an abusive situation or know someone who is, call 1-800-RESPECT. That's 1-800-737-732. And if it's an emergency, call 000.
So, yeah, a little bit of good news, I suppose, to finish on. Just good news that he's saved the family the torment of carrying on with the trial.